Okay, here we are inside of Sony Vegas, and what I'm going to do today is show you how to get your EVE Online film rendered, how to get it exported, encoded, whatever you want to call it really, but just essentially get it into a state whereby it's not hundreds of gigabytes in size, it's in a reasonable size, and really, can be uploaded anywhere and allow people to watch it and enjoy the film just as much as you've enjoyed making it. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to export into a Windows media video file. So first thing you want to do is go File, Render As, and what I tend to do is pick something that's kind of close to what I'm looking for. So you want to go to your templates here and go Custom and find something that's kind of close, and that looks about right, 3 megabits per second video. Check that, and you want to set up the audio. So you go Audio and set this to, it says CD quality here, but I kind of think that 128 by 44 or 48 is probably what you're looking for. So check that. Then go to Video, and you want quality VBR or variable bitrate. And format, Windows Media Video 9 is absolutely fine, and you want to keep the original size, so the original size, this being 1280 by 1024, and as soon as you check that, you'll see that the width pixel and height pixels are 1280 by 1024. Frames per second, now this particular Fraps file and therefore the whole project is 30 frames per second, seconds per keyframe 3, and quality 90% or 90. And go over to the bitrate. Now that should already be set up to 3M or 3 megabits per second. And once that is all done, you've got an option here for index and summary. Now this will just add more information to the actual file. So if anyone looks at the properties of the file once they've downloaded it, can have the title, the author and the engineer and all that malarkey, and you can just fill that in if you need to. It's not essential, entirely up to you, but the option is there nevertheless. And just one final glance over all of this, make sure everything is okay. And if you want to save this as a preset, then you've got to save template option here, which you can just check and then give the template a name. But for now that's set up, so you click OK. And you want to give it a name. Now this is one I did earlier, but try and give the name. I think Loxy Rider said this in his original guide to creating videos. Try and give your file name, your movie name, some kind of meaning, as opposed to something like final or render or something like that. So call it something meaningful. In this case it's a rifter in a station, so just call it Rifter Station. And it says render loop region only. Now if you have that checked, that means that the loop region, which is this section here, is all it's actually going to render. Now I've got that set to just a couple of seconds, because one thing I always think is good is just to test your settings. You don't want to spend half an hour or an hour or whatever rendering out the entire film, only to find that you're not really happy with the quality of it, and you think it's a little bit blurry, or maybe you want to redo some of the timings, because as good as video editing software is, and as good as your computer is, the final render, and sometimes it doesn't always match in terms of the sequencing and the formats and all that sort of stuff to what you've actually edited. So the explosions won't happen in time with the music, or because you've been looking at everything in preview mode inside of a small window, or even if you've been looking at it on a second monitor like I would, it doesn't always sync together. So always do a little bit of a test render on certain parts, just to make sure things are what you want them to be. But anyway, once you're happy, you can alter this loop region to cover the whole video or the whole track or whatever, and from there it will just render out the file as you want it. So you just click on Save. Just to give you an idea, this is let's have a look at this file here. This is, how big is this file? So there you go, 895.63 meg. So that's just about 30 seconds worth of Fraps file there. And what I've done is rendered that out. So here's one I made earlier, and you can see there The quality is fine, so that's a Windows media file there. Now obviously this is screen capture, so it might seem a little bit jerky or whatever, but you know, it's sharp, and the quality is good, and all of the effects are in place. So you know, I'm fairly happy with that. So I would probably use those settings to render out the entire film. And just to give you an idea, this 895 or whatever file that we've been using, that I've used here, that has been compressed down into a, I'm just going to bring up the properties here. This is the file here, and it's 25.1 meg. So, you know, we've compressed effectively down from, you know, 900 meg pretty much down to 25 meg for that 30-second piece, but we've retained the quality there. So, you know, we'd be able to upload that, and people won't have to download something which is, you know, 900 meg. They can just download something which is, you know, 25 meg, which is, you know, hardly anything nowadays. So anyway, there you go. That's how you do the export. You save the file, save a template if you want to. It's entirely up to you, and then you can upload it to e-files, and people can download it. Now, the other way of exporting film or exporting a video is to do an uncompressed AVI file, so that it can then be compressed and encoded in another application. And I'll show you that now. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go same as normal, just go File, Render As, and got an option, all these different options here. So we just chose that one there, and we rendered this one out, and we customized the bit rate and everything. Rendering out an uncompressed AVI file will effectively give you a very, very large file of all of your editing, so the entire film. So it's just like a machine that you put all of the elements in, and the machine is your editing program. Out of the other end of that, you're going to have a fully uncompressed, so super high quality, but very, very large file that you're then seeking to do a different kind of encoding with. So you get this clean, crisp file which you can then compress or do whatever you want with, or even use for further editing. It's entirely up to you. What some people do is they'll then bring that file and put it into After Effects, and they'll start adding you know, like title work, and put some filters on there, and just kind of work inside of After Effects, which is kind of what After Effects is for. But anyway, this is how you do it. You go here and you select video for Windows.avi, which is the file that we're looking for, and then you just give it a name. So let's have a look here. So Rifter Station.avi. That's what you would do, and it says their default template uncompressed. If you were to click in here and have a look, you'd see that everything is as you want it. It's uncompressed, firstly. Secondly, the video quality and the video size and so on is just picking its detail from what this is. So it's looked at this file, or it's looked at the project, and it knows that a project is 1280 by 1024. It knows it's 30 frames a second. It knows that it's progressive scan. It has a square aspect ratio, or an aspect ratio of 1, and it's going to be uncompressed. Pretty much the same with the audio as well. PCM uncompressed, 48 by 16 in stereo. So you don't really have to do anything. Now there is the option, of course, of choosing a different codec other than the one that's been listed there, and I've got lots of codecs on here. You could use Huffy, you could use Lagarif or whatever that is, lossless codec, which is a very nice codec, as is Huffy, and there's all these other ones here. But if you just want it, you know, just want to be safe, if you like, and not really worried about the size of it without any further compression, which is what I would personally recommend, unless you come across some kind of issue or problem. Just select uncompressed, and it will just squirt out the other side a brand new clean file for you. So just click OK, and then click on Save, and it will then render that out for you. And we've got the same options down here as well for render region only. So once again, if you want to do a test render of 10 seconds to see whether it will actually render to your satisfaction, and you'll have the file with the quality and everything that you're looking for before you then bring it into another application to do either further work, or to actually do a different kind of rendering, such as the autoencoder or stack rip or whatever it is that you're looking to do, and I'm not going to go into those, by the way, then fine, there you are. You just click on save and away you go. But those are really the two options I would recommend. Either do a Windows media video export or do a fully uncompressed export and then use another application for the rendering or encoding. So once you've got the settings that you want, I'd say you are good to go.